Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. We're going to be discussing IBuyPower's new Steam machine, which offers basically PC specifications for the price of a shiny new Xbox. We don't have all of the specifications yet. Regardless, for $499 US, you get a multi-core AMD CPU, an AMD Radeon R9 270, which gives you kind of like a Radeon HD 7870 performance. You also get a Steam controller, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 500 gigabytes of hard drive space, and Valve Linux-based Steam OS. So what can it do? Well, it can run Battlefield on high at about 60 frames per second, and the creators have said that it should indeed be able to run pretty much all of the current games, which are on Linux anyway, at full HD 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second. Plus, in addition to that, it's just a little bit larger than the PlayStation 4, but apparently a little bit smaller than the Xbox One, so it's kind of in between the two sizes. Now, I have to admit, I am a huge Valve fan. I've gone and said it on record. I don't really think that's a shock. Most people are. And I personally believe the Steam machines could have a huge impact in PC gaming. Now, there's a problem. The major problem is that Linux right now isn't supported by the majority of PC developers. What I'm hoping is that the best OS wins. In other words, either Windows or the Valve OS wins out, and that's what games developers focus upon. I mean, I'd prefer in a magical fantasy land where they develop for both. I would much prefer that. Regardless, this is a pretty cheap entry. This is a very powerful system from what we're being told. Now, PC gaming is definitely coming down in price. Next generation systems aren't that powerful compared to even a medium spec PC, to be honest with you. Sure, eventually we're going to get situations where, of course, those specs are for the PS4 or the Xbox One are going to get pushed really heavily. But for right now, honestly speaking, you can get a ridiculously powerful system for very cheap. I mean, you know, $500, $600 US, you can get a powerful system. We're talking 8 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, a GPU that's got like 3 gigabytes of GDDR5 as well, and that GPU can in many cases push 3 T-flops plus. And obviously, if you're willing to spend either just a smidgen more, just a hair, and you're willing to go to like, you know, $700, or you're willing to buy used, then pretty much the sky's the limit. In my personal opinion as well, since the next generation console games are so bloody ludicrously expensive, at least for the UK, I mean, we're basically being asked to cough up like, what, £60 for some EA games, and it's very expensive, to be honest. Sure, we can go into the store and we can pick them up for 50 Great British pounds, but here's the thing. If I was to look at, say, Assassin's Creed 4 for the PS4, and I was doing this because I need to buy it for the PS4 so we can do some coverage on it, it's about £50, give or take a pound or two new. And meanwhile, on the PC, you're looking at about £25 to £27 brand spanking new. My point being that I think the Steam machines could well be a situation where players could really embrace them if there's some good games on, if there's stability there, if it's easy to use. It's going to actually work out to be cheaper, because you've already got situations where, let's say you were to buy 10 games. In the case of Assassin's Creed, let's even round it up. It's actually slightly more than what I'm about to say. It's actually slightly more of a saving, but let's just round it up and say you're saving £20, in which case just 10 games is £200 saved, which is quite substantial when you weigh it up against the next generation purchase. It means that, for example, a PS4 becomes like $550, to 600 just in terms of the console and the savings. It can make quite a difference. Now, I'm not trying to turn this into a PC versus console debate. I'm just merely pointing out what a lot of people are starting to think in the industry right now. Valve are definitely going to start to make some headroad into the living room. It also, however, does have some problems. The Valve OS is fairly limited and obviously doesn't have the file browsing capabilities and other bits and bobs that you would pretty much expect. However, remember that the Steam OS is pretty damn open. You can do pretty much anything you want with it, and the Steam systems themselves, or Steam machines, can indeed be fitted with Windows. They can be, for example, put on with a different distribution of Linux if you so wish. Whatever you desire, it's completely up to you. And that level of customization, in my opinion, is going to be a really good thing. I'm not exactly sure how successful the whole situation is going to be. Valve definitely have a great distribution platform, and obviously there are going to be a range of Steam machines. Like, for example, this one is certainly not going to be the cheapest, but it's also certainly not going to be the most expensive. There are going to definitely be more expensive machines, and definitely going to be cheaper machines, and of course going to be ranges of NVIDIA hardware, AMD hardware, Intel-based machines as well. So there's pretty much going to be something for every budget. What I do feel, however, is that for console players right now who aren't that familiar with the specifications of a PC, and they're just like, okay, I don't really understand. What I would like is to see some kind of buying platform which easily advises the player. They would, for example, type in the budget, they would type in the type of machine that they wanted, and then maybe there would be some kind of system to give them some advice, to easily tell them, okay, buy this model of machine, rather than pretty much at the moment where PC gaming market is pretty brutal, and you can easily get screwed over with a crappy graphics card. It's becoming less prevalent now, honestly. Like, back in early 2000s, it was really, really easy to get stuck with a lemon. We're talking like a GPU that's pretty powerful, but then it has memory which is just absolutely worthless. Or you have situations where, you know, you'll just have a GPU which has just been rebranded 2 or 3 times or whatever. It's becoming less of a thing now. It's becoming where it's actually quite difficult to make a really bad purchase, honestly. And also you get in situations in the GPU, the CPU markets where they're actually becoming a lot faster. And so there are a hell of a lot of good bargains out there. For example, the GTX 760s, the Radeon R range, for example, the Radeon R280 is an incredibly good bargain. The Radeon R270 is also a really good bargain. And of course, we've also got the really powerful systems, like the GTX 780 Ti, which is actually faster than the NVIDIA Titan. It's not quite so good for creation work because it doesn't have the compute infrastructure, but for most gamers, they don't really give a crap about that, if I'm totally honest. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.